Hello students, I am Satish from LUCID Study. Today, I would like to teach you the very first lesson from our English textbook. Are you all waiting? Yes, this is the very first unit, Personality Development. Personality Development is the theme of our first lesson. Students, have you heard any time the phrase personality development before? Yes or no? Okay. What is personality development? What do you know about it? Personality development is a concept which has gained currency in the last few decades. The concept has the roots in the need of making better, mature human beings. It helps people understand themselves and their strengths and weaknesses, and to from right towards the life, society, career, and so on. The individual who has right attitude towards problems will always accept them courageously and tries to find solutions from the constructive side. Class 10th students are adolescents. Yes, you are all teenagers. It is hoped that you draw inspiration from the cases of people who struggled with adversities and finally succeeded. More than anything, the success and the failures are just as matter of fact. The present society witnesses absence of courage, presence of greed among certain people. It is emphasized that this particular unit, personality development, will give the exposure to science of living. On this face sheet, you have three categories of readings. First one is reading A. Attitude is altitude, the main lesson. The second one is reading B. Every success story is also a story of great failure. Third, reading C is I will do it. Students, here is the face sheet of our lesson, personality development. On this page, we have look at the pictures and answer the questions. Observe the pictures very carefully. Have you seen these personalities before? Do you name them? Yes. The first picture is Sudha Chandran. Who is she? Have you seen any time? Have you heard any time about her? Yes. Sudha Chandran is an Indian film and television actress and an accomplished Bharatanatyam dancer. In 1981, she hurt her leg in a road accident near Tiruchirappalli in Tamil Nadu while coming from Madras with her parents. You know what happened? Her leg became gangrenous and her parents opted to have it amputated. However, she subsequently became an established Bharatanatyam dancer. She was awarded National Film Special Jury Award for her movie Mayuri. On the second picture, we see Stephen William Hawking. Do you know about him? Stephen William Hawking was an English theoretical physicist, cosmologist, and author. Hawking had a very rare early onset slow processing from a motor neuron disease, a fatal neurodegenerative disease that results in the death of motor neurons in the brain and spinal cord, which gradually paralyzed him over decades. The problems worsened and his speech became slightly slurred. Hawking's physical abilities declined. That was his condition. How this man could work on the origins and structure of the universe from the Big Bang to black holes. Hawking received numerous awards, including the Nobel Prize and honors. The third picture is Helen Adams Keller. Helen Keller was an American author, political activist, and lecturer. She was the first deaf-blind person to earn a degree in Bachelor of Arts. The story of Helen Keller and her teacher was made famous by Helen Keller's autobiography, The Story of My Life. At 19 months old, Helen Keller contracted an unknown illness described by doctors as an acute congestion of the stomach and the brain, which might have been scarlet fever. The illness left her both deaf and blind. The illness had left her both deaf and blind. Dear children, you have known about the three great personalities. I would like to ask you a question. They are born with disabilities and achieved a lot. How many people could achieve what they have achieved with the limitations they have? I would like to ask you a question. How many of you could achieve what they have done with the limitations? Let us ask once ourselves. Now, on this page, we have a question. What qualities have made these persons great? Can you say? And the second question is, what qualities do you think a person require to become great or successful? At least two characters, right? We say hard work, perseverance, punctuality, never give up, obstination, so on. Do we possess these qualities? Dear students, now we are into the first reading segment, that is attitude is altitude. The title tells us our attitude is the altitude. What sort of attitude we must possess and how come it will take us to the altitude in our lives. The very first paragraph asks us some questions. Imagine having no arms to stretch in the morning to help you scratch that itch, to allow you to wrap your arms around your loved ones. Imagine having no legs to kick pebbles down the street, to walk or run, to bicycle or skateboard, or get you from point A to point B. Then imagine both at once. The first statement, imagine having no arms to stretch in the morning and to help you to scratch that itch or allow you to wrap your arms around your loved ones. That question we need to imagine. And the second point, imagine having no legs to kick pebbles down or walk or run or bicycle or skateboard or move from point A to point B. Imagine these two at a time. Imagine both at once, which is what Nick Vujicic has faced his whole life. Have you heard something like this before? Now, we are going to read the biographical sketch, which is the life story of Nick Vujicic. In this passage, we are going to study about Nick Vujicic. Nick Vujicic was born with no arms or legs, but he doesn't let the details stop him. The brave 26 years old, who is mainly torso, plays football and golf, swims and surfs despite having no limbs. Nick has a small foot on his left hip which helps him balance and enables him to kick. Here we need to concentrate on some points. He was born with no arms or legs. He doesn't let the details stop him. This tells how he could achieve something in his life. This point tells his positive approach towards life. What he could do. He does everything what you could do with your hands and legs. The most important part is here, Nick has a small foot on his left hip. That part helps him balance and facilitates him to kick something. This is very, very important. Nick uses his one foot to type, write with a pen and pick up things between his toes. I call it my chicken drumstick. Joked Nick, who was born in Melbourne, Australia but now lives in Los Angeles. I would be lost without it. Nick tells, if that part, small foot on his left hip, if that part is not there, he said, I would be lost without it. This is very, very important point. In this passage, we are studying about Nick's hobbies. What are Nick's hobbies? Water sports aren't Nick's only thing. He also plays golf with a club tucked under his chin. He is a huge fan of English Premier League, EPL, which is for football. Like we have IPL. And he does something with a club. Club means a stick that is used to play golf. Here we learn about Nick's school education. His parents decided not to send him to a special school. A decision he said was very hard for him, but which may have been the best decision they could have made for him. Nick tells us that his parents did not allow him to go to special school where physically disabled students are put and encouraged to study. Nick's parents encouraged him to go to regular school. What is disability? What happened to Nick? Let us learn. His disability came without any medical explanation, a rare occurrence called phocomelia. And Nick and his parents spent many years asking why this cruel trick would happen to them. My mother was a nurse and she did everything right during her pregnancy and she still blamed herself, he said. What is the term phocomelia means? Phocomelia is a very rare condition that causes short limbs. Nick gets depressed. Here we are going to study about that case. I was deeply depressed when I was 8 years old, he said. I went to my mom crying and told her I wanted to kill myself. Students, that was the problem Nick faced. That is, he wanted to commit suicide, which is very, very bad, which nobody should do. And he says, I felt cold and bitter. I hated God for doing this to me and was terrified of what would happen when my parents were not there to look after me. Nick says, life was cold and bitter. What is the phrase cold and bitter means? Important. What is the term feeling cold and bitter means? It means feel very uncomfortable. Nick tries to be very independent. I could brush my own teeth with a wall-mounted brush and wash my own hair with pump action soap, but there was so much that was impossible for me. Nick tries to overcome his disability slowly, but there are so many things he could not do. Nick tries to give up his life. At age 10, Nick tries to drown himself in the bath, but luckily the attempt was unsuccessful. Another time of committing suicide. I felt there was no purpose when you lack purpose and strength, it is hard to hold on, he said. But with the help of his religion, friends and family, Nick managed to pull through to become an international symbol of triumph over adversity. Here we have one expression that we need to learn. What is the term pull through means? It means continue. And we have another word which is the adversity. Adversity means obstacles, problems. Nick gets inspiration. When I was 13, I read a newspaper article about a disabled man who had managed to achieve great things and help others, said Nick. I realized why God had made us like this, to give hope to others. It was so inspirational to me that I decided to use my life to encourage other people and give them the courage that the article had given me. Dear students, Nick gets inspiration from an article and Nick decided to give motivation to others who are physically disabled. Nick accepts his condition. I looked at myself in the mirror and said, you know what? The world is right that I have no arms or legs, but they will never take away the beauty of my eyes. I wanted to concentrate on something good that I had. Always be positive and go ahead, move on in the life. That's what Nick decided to be. Gratitude. I decided to be thankful for what I do have, not get angry about what I don't. Why to get angry unnecessarily for what we don't? Be happy with what you have. You are unique. You are special. Nobody is like you. Move on. Nick's mindset. Nick has framed his mindset to be very, very strong. The challenges in our lives are there to strengthen our convictions. What is the meaning of convictions? Beliefs. They are there not to run us over. What is the phrase run over means? Control. Problems and other things, challenges are not there to control our life. We are not under the control of the problem. Surfing is fun. Nick began to travel the world and in 2008, he went to Hawaii and met surfing master Bethany Hamilton, who had her arm bitten off by a shark when she was 12 years. She was amazing, said Nick. Who was amazing? Bethany Hamilton. She taught me how to surf and I was terrified at first. But once I got up there, it felt absolutely fantastic and I caught up some waves pretty well. Now, being a torso, doing his own personal things is very, very difficult. But Nick makes everything possible for a human being. Some of us may do not know how to swim, but Nick does surfing. This is the lesson we are going to learn. Here, Nick is not under control of the problems. Nick gets solution for everything. Nick is not controlling his limitations. Nick is not feeling so sorry for his life. Nick enjoys each and every minute of his life. For example, Nick tells one funny incident. And once I was in a car and a girl at traffic lights was giving me the eye. She could only see my head, so I decided to do a 360 degrees in the car seat to freak her out. Her face was like, oh, what is going on? She sped off really quickly. What is the meaning of the term giving me the eye means? Look at him carefully. What is the term giving me the eye means? It means looking at Nick carefully and interestingly. What is the meaning of the term freak out? Freak out means very surprised. Awards. Nick in 1990 won the Australian Young Citizen of the Year award for his bravery and perseverance. Children, you know the meaning of bravery, being very courageous. Then what is the meaning of perseverance? Perseverance means dedication, commitment. Coming to Nick's achievements, Nick quickly learned how to do the 360-degree spin on his board, a feat that got him on Surfer magazine with 48 hours. No one has ever done that in the history of surfing, Nick says. What is the meaning of the word feat? Feat means achievement. Nick's tour throughout the world. He has visited different countries all over the world. The football fan is now a motivational speaker and has traveled to over 24 countries speaking to groups of up to 110,000 people. Now, his profession is motivational speaker. Nick's marriage. Nick and Kane got married on February 12, 2012. They were blessed with the birth of a healthy baby boy with full body. Message from Nick's life. If I fail, I try again and again and again. If you fail, are you going to try again? The human spirit can handle much worse than we realize. It matters how you are going to finish. Are you going to finish strong? Said Nick. I tell people to keep on getting up when they fall and to always love themselves, he said. If I can encourage just one person, then my job in this life is done. Nick tells all of us. He failed in life, but he tried again and again and again. Are you doing that? And Nick tells one more thing. How you are going to finish? Are you going to finish things very strong? Nick's life is not just a story. Nick's life is a successful story. It gives us motivation. It gives us encouragement. Dear students, it tells us his attitude has made him to stand on the altitude. Nick's life proved that attitude is altitude. Dear students, from this lesson, we have learned the biographical sketch of Nick. What was his childhood? How he could manage working on things better? What was his parents' role in his life? And how he became to be very independent? When he was under depression, he committed suicide, which is very, very wrong. But luckily, he could save his life. But luckily, nothing happened to him. Later, he realized the purpose of life. Dying is not the solution. Bouncing is the solution. Dear students, Nick, being a torso, having born without hands and legs, he did so many things. Today, he has become a motivation, inspiration to thousands of people. And now, let us all salute to Nick's dedication, perseverance, hard work. Let us all learn all the positive traits from Nick's life and continue our life and be very successful people.